So, good morning, friends. Today, I have come basically to take you through a presentation and try to convey the message that it's only the attitude of the person which will bring a long way towards success in the journey of becoming a great leader. In the opening remarks of the book by Shiv Khera, You Can Win, he says, winners don't do different things. They do things differently. Success doesn't mean the absence of failures. It actually means the attainment of ultimate objectives. It means winning the war and not every battle. This is what was said by Edwin C. Bliss. While the ability of a person teaches us as to how to do things, motivation determines as to why we do things in a different way. And most important, it is the strategic planning which basically helps people to lead, to think a little differently. So as we go along, I shall illustrate the iceberg phenomenon, which is applicable to the attitude in human beings. The definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. This program, this session is basically meant for early and mid-careers professionals who are in the process of preparation on leadership roles. This session will also be useful for the new leaders who are in the early stage of early aspiring entrepreneurs, who wants to develop techniques for building high-performing teams, coaching, delivery feedback, and of course, handling stressful leadership situations. In today's first session, I will take you through a journey on the importance of the most commonly used words, both in the academics and as well as in the industrialists, which is basically the word which is called the attitude. And I shall link this famous word to the stories and life stories which I've actually undergone through and try to relate as to why this is such a very, very important word and why is it that we need to be looking at it in a very, very different way. The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude of mind. This is what was said by William James, one of the famous philanthropists of our time. The winner's edge is not in the gifted birth or a very high level of IQ. The winner's edge is in the attitude and not in the aptitude. Attitude is a criterion for success. Alexander Pope once said that the most positive men are the most credulous human beings. Leadership is not about titles. It is not about positions or not even about flowcharts. It's about one's life influencing the other. So before we begin, it's very, very important that I must introduce myself. I've done my schooling from a school called Little Flower School in Jamshedpur, which is now in the state of Jharkhand. Thereafter, I've done my metallurgical engineering from NIT Rourkela and then my MTech from RIT Jamshedpur, which is now called again as NIT. And thereafter, I've done my 3 years of executive management program in XLRI. I'm a trained behavioral safety professional from DuPont, US, and I've trained close to about 3,000 officers. I'm a certified total productive management from the Sensei's of Japan. And I've worked with Professors Ando, Professors Kano, and things like that, who are basically some of these quality gurus in Japan. I'm a certified Harvard mentor on subjects such as innovation and creativity and goal setting and coaching, career management, and things like that. I'm a master black belt in Lean Six Sigma, and I've trained close to about 300 odd officers, and I'm a trainer for the Green Belt projects. And I've done a certified 2015 integrated management system. I'm probably one of the very few people in the steel industry who must have seen the Deming Award 2 times. During my last 36 years of my corporate life, I have seen many leaders in the business and in the sports world. But one person I met who have stayed in my memory is, of course, Tenzing Norgay. And another person who has also influenced me in a very, very large way is Martin Luther King. And let me quote the famous, iconic speech from Martin Luther. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of the former slaves and the sons of the former owners will be able to sit down together in the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into the oasis of freedom, of justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation that will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. This was one of the iconic speech given to Martin Luther in the year 1963 in front of 250,000 supporters gathered around the Lincoln Memorial. The speech even today is ranked as one of the best American speech in the 20th and the 21st century. Leadership is innate as well as an acquired phenomenon. Leaders are recognized with their penetrating vision. They can see into the future and have a very clear, exciting idea where they are going, what are they trying to accomplish, and of course, most important is the type of strategic planning these people adopt. A good leader has a futuristic vision and knows how to turn his idea into a great reality. John Quincy Adams once said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, it's only then that you become a leader. Leadership is one of the great qualities of human nature. It is defined as a quality by which a person influences others to accomplish an objective. The most significant qualities of a great leader is honesty, integrity, confidence, commitment, passion, creativity, good communication skills, and most important is, of course, the decision-making capabilities. The leader is an inspiration and is not characterized by turbulence, but by the stillness found in the eye of the tornado. It is widely believed that a leader must have these 3 I factors: impact, influence, and of course, the aspiration. Friends, leaders are not born. They are made up of a lot of experience, struggles, skills, and capabilities. The great visionary leaders are great thinkers, sincere, dedicated, reflective, strategic, organized, and of course, most important, responsible. Through this session, I have picked up some important principles and of course, certain examples from this book called You Can Win from Shiv Khera, and also from the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Quoting Albert Einstein, once a life lived in the service of others is worth living. Now, with the practical and historical, I shall unearth their potential and recognize this by providing ways to change. So thank you. And what I would now do is I will take you through some of my presentations where I shall illustrate how this attitude of a person plays a very, very important role in developing leadership. Let's look at this simple story. There was a man who was made his living by selling balloons. And in a fair, he used to go and sell many colored balloons. He used to fill with the helium gas, and all the balloons used to fly, and a lot of children used to come down seeing from a distance, and they used to buy the balloons, and that's how this person used to make his living. One day, a small child comes up to him and tugged his trousers, and he said, "Sir, if you fill a black balloon, will the balloon also fly as high as a colored balloon?" Because in those days, the boy has never seen a black balloon. So the man says, "Son, it's not the color of the balloon, what is it, which makes the balloon fly. It's actually what is inside you which makes the balloon fly." Friends, the same principle applies to our lives. Just the way positive thinkers empowers people to achieve new heights, negative thinking propels people towards self-destruction. Let's look at another example as to how the attribute of an attitude contributes to success and in formation of great leaders. Let's look at all the tall buildings under this planet as of today. The Exchange Tower stands at about 445 meters tall. The Petronas Tower at Kuala Lumpur stands about 451 meters tall. The World Trade Center stands about 541 meters tall. The Shanghai Towers, which stands also at about 632 meters tall. And most of all, the tallest of all the structure is the King, which is the Burj Khalifa, and which is the tallest building in modern times. The Burj Khalifa weighs about 400,000 tons and is equivalent to about 160-story building. It has about 33,000 tons of concrete and have used about 40,000 tons of steel, which is equivalent to about 160-story building. Approximately 60% of this building is underground, which forms as the foundation to this great marvel. Friends, even for success, even to become great leaders, it is most important that the foundation of this person must be very, very strong. A study has shown in the Harvard University that when a person gets a job for the first time, it's 85% of the time it's because of his or her attitude, and it's only 15% of the time is because of his smartness and also because of the domain knowledge. Attitude is one of the most used language in the English dictionary. A study has also shown in the Stanford University that when a person gets a promotion, 85% of the time is because of his or her attitude, and 15% is mainly because of the intelligence. The winner has a solution for every problem, and the loser has a problem to every solution. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leaves a trail." Coming back to the next slide, the largest iceberg under this planet is B-15, which is 295 kilometers long and 37 kilometers wide and covers a surface area of about 11,000 square kilometers. The Titanic, which was equivalent to an 80-story building and weighed about 40,000 tons, hit the North Atlantic Glacier in the west coast of Greenland, only because the captain could only see the tip of the iceberg. He could never see the base of the iceberg, which was very, very wide. And the rest, of course, is all history. This iceberg phenomenon is also applicable to human beings. What is visible and known to others is only 10%, which is translated to knowledge, skills, and hard work. What is unknown to most of the people is the 90%, which is within us. Let me take you to another story, which is a very nice story. This is about a young boy who goes to a shopkeeper and he tells the shopkeeper, "So, sir, I would like to give a call." Of course, in those days, there were no mobiles. So the shopkeeper said, "Of course, you can do it with a payment of ₹2." So the boy picks up and rings up the number. And the other side, there was another old lady. And he tells, "Ma'am, I would like to come and work in your house. I would definitely do all the utensils. I will sweep the floor for the same money which you are paying to the existing servant." So the old lady said, "Sorry, son, at this moment of time, I have a servant of my own, and therefore I would not like to engage another servant." The boy pleaded again, "Okay, ma'am, I will not only wash the utensils, I will not only mop the floors, I will also wash all your clothes, iron them, and put it back into the closet for the same money which you are paying to the existing servant." So the ma'am again said, "Sorry, son, at this moment of time, I do have a servant. He's very good, and I don't want to replace at this moment of time." So the boy pleaded again. He says, "Ma'am, not only washing the utensils, not only mopping the floor, not only washing your clothes and putting and ironing and putting into the closet, I will also look at your gardening, and I will also clean your both the cars which you have for the same price which you're paying to that servant." So the old lady again says, "Sorry, at this moment of time, my son, I really am not in a favor to change my servant. In case if there is an opportunity, I will definitely reach you out." So the little boy puts back the telephone and gives back the ₹2 to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper, who was listening to all this, walked to the boy and said, "Son, your attitude I like, and I like your spirit. Well, I would like to offer you a job. Would you like to work in this job?" The little boy replied, "No thanks. I was just checking my performance with the job I already have. I am the one who is working for that lady I was talking to." Friends, the point I want to make is that opportunity is always under our feet. All we need to do is to recognize it. The grass on the other side is always looks greener. We all complain of noise when it knocks. It's the attitude coupled with values, standards, judgments, motives, and of course, ethics and belief that impacts the behavior. Now, let us look at what makes life 100%. If you look at the alphabets from A to Z, and you could put A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to 3, and D is equal to 4, and so on and so forth, as X is equal to 23. Sorry, X is equal to 24, Y is equal to 25, and Z is equal to 26. And if we sum the words called skills, skills, which is 19 plus 11 plus 9 plus 12 plus 12 plus 19, the addition of this would give you 82. If we look at knowledge, if you add the words, it actually makes it to 96. Hard work, very, very important in order to become a great leader, is when you add them up, it makes it to 98. Friends, what makes 100? Surprisingly, is this word called attitude. 1 plus 20 plus 9 plus 20 plus 21 plus 4 plus 5, when you add up the word called attitude, it actually makes 100%. Hard work, knowledge, skills are of course required, but the most important thing in order to make it to 100% in human being, in order to become a great leader, is this word called attitude. The proud owner of the 8 Olympics golds and 19 Guinness Book of World Records, Usain Bolt, who's turned speed into a very high lucrative franchise. His net worth is close to about $90 million. To achieve this, he had to put about 10,000 hours, which is close to about 3,000 hours every year, which basically translates to 8 to 9 hours a day, no Sunday. And all that effort is basically to run that 40 to 50 seconds in an Olympic. Most people want to win in life, but very few people are willing to pay the price and for preparation to win. The next slide, I will take you to another story where we have read it when we were a child and we were big children. This is the story of David and Goliath. So in a small village, Goliath was one of those big bully who used to come down, and all the children used to run helter-skelter because they were the big bully. He used to hit people. And this way it continued for many, many months. One day, all the brothers got together and they said, why don't we stand up and fight the giant? But all the brothers, they were terrified, and they said, don't you see, he's too big to be hit? Look at what David said. No, he is not too big to be hit. He is actually too big to miss. And the rest is, of course, is all history. David killed the giant, and the same giant, different perceptions. Great organizations are measured by wages and worldly affairs, but they're measured by feelings, attitudes, and of course, the relationships. Charles Dickens once wrote about a prisoner who stayed for many years in a dungeon. After serving his sentence, he got his freedom. He was brought out from his cell into the bright daylight in the open world. This man looked all around and after a few moments was so uncomfortable with his newly acquired freedom that he asked to be brought back and back into the cell, where again he felt so secure and he was not ready to accept the change of freedom and the open world. Friends, let's look at what happened to Nelson Mandela. He was in the prison for 27 years. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to see his prison on the way back from Pretoria to Johannesburg. He came out with a changed mind and brought freedom to South Africa. And he became the first black president of South Africa. And what we have seen him as a great leader. Great organizations are not measured by wages and working conditions. They are measured by feelings, attitude, and friendship. To him, the dungeons, the chains, and the darkness were more secure and comfortable, and accepting the change of freedom and open world. Friends, let's look at another story, a very famous story of Tenzing Norgay, the first people who climbed the Mount Everest. When Hillary was planning to scale the Mount Everest, while doing his homework, he spoke to many people who had made the expeditions to the Mount Everest. And there were 6 groups who had already gone, but of course, for some reason, they couldn't scale the Mount Everest. And all the 6 groups who had earlier gone to this expedition all had mentioned this word and this name called Tenzing. And they said, sir, if you would like to go to the Mount Everest, you must take this person along with you called Tenzing Norgay. And that is how both Hillary and Tenzing both climbed the Mount Everest. While reaching the peak, Hillary took one of his photographs of Tenzing, and he congratulated Tenzing to be the first man to climb the Mount Everest. Whereas Tenzing again reciprocated. He also wanted to click the photo of Mr. Hillary, and Mr. Hillary refused to take his photograph. He replied that it was not necessary. And then it's all history. Even today, we don't have Hillary being number 1 climbing the Mount Everest. That's what leadership is all about. You don't conquer a mountain. You only conquer yourself. Leaders learn to turn the spotlight away from themselves and on the people around them. For a leader, it's always about them and not me. For Tenzing, it had been a long road. He was a mountain coolie. He used to be a bearer of loads. He used to be a wearer of coats with rows of medals, who carried about in planes. And of course, finally, he also had to be worried about the income tax. Friends, coming up to the final stage of my presentation, let me again illustrate a small example of the famous tycoon, the steel tycoon, Andrew Carnegie, who was one of the largest business person in the year 1920s. At one point of time, he had 43 millionaires working under him. And that was quite a lot of money way back in the 1920s. So somebody asked him, Andrew, how do you deal with people? So Andrew replied, dealing with people is like digging for gold. When you go digging to gold, you don't concentrate on the dirt. You keep looking for the gold. And that's what Andrew said at that point of time. Finally, friends, let me quote 4 lines of James Albury. He slept beneath the moon. He basked beneath the sun. He lived a life of going to do and died with nothing done. So friends, that brings to an end of my presentation. If you have liked this session, please subscribe to my channel and please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, which will obviously bring me a great passion to bring about the next video.